I've reviewed quite a few Switch controllers in the past year or so, and, well, I've kind of sworn off reviewing more unless I come across anything that manages to fundamentally change my perspective on Switch gaming. But before I quit Switch controller reviews for good, I figured I'd be doing y'all a disservice if I didn't show off one of the neatest controllers in my collection, the Pokeball Plus. For those unfamiliar, the Pokeball Plus is a dense ball of a controller, the size and shape of a minimized Pokeball, if that Pokeball were made from soft-touch rubber. At the ball's clasp is a small joystick that makes Joy-Cons look spacious. It's smooth to rotate, and pressing down on it is the equivalent of pressing an A button. Meanwhile, up top is a rounded bump that can be pushed down to trigger a B button press. It's all very simple stuff that's easy to adjust to for one-handed gameplay. And honestly, it's more comfortable to grip than a Joy-Con, since the round design fits perfectly in the grip of my hand. Unfortunately, this Pokeball-themed controller was also released in late 2018, specifically as a tie-in for Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, and that means it's set up to only work with those two games. After launching a different game, the controller disconnects from my Switch and refuses to reconnect until I close the game. It sucks, and if this were any other controller, I wouldn't be talking about it on this channel. However, weirdly specific DRM aside, it's actually a really fascinating controller with limitations that ultimately elevate the gameplay experiences of both Let's Go games. The first way it does so is with its built-in motion controls. Within the Let's Go games, the main way to catch Pokemon is to actually throw Pokeballs at wild Pokemon. Pokemon Go style. Considering the Pokeball Plus is, well, a Pokeball, has motion controls and a wrist strap that secures around my middle finger so it doesn't go flying, well, you can kind of see where this is going. The Pokeball Plus is possibly the closest a Pokemon game has gotten to allowing me to manually catch a Pokemon myself. I throw the ball in my hand, and the ball goes flying toward the Pokemon. If my aim or throwing force are off, the ball goes flying over the Pokemon or bouncing at its feet. By adjusting how and where I'm throwing, I can either add more speed to the ball or attempt extra precision to get an excellent throw, making my catch success rate even higher. Having a physical object to physically toss to play the game creates an extra bit of immersion that isn't really felt in any other Pokemon game. And the extra layer of complexity built into the game to utilize the controller's sensors goes a step further to add a ton more skill, patience, and nuance to what is otherwise a pretty simple game mechanic. Plus, it's all backed by some clever use of the controller's onboard speaker, vibration motor, and lights. When catching Pokemon, the lights around the joystick pulse while the controller gives off the slightest feedback, and the speaker plays the Pokeball sound effect from the game. There's tension to the experience that exceeds just watching what's happening on the screen. And when the catch ends with either the sharp red buzz of a failed capture or the excited cry of your new partner, there's a payoff that makes the Let's Go games much more of a trainer simulator than any other Pokemon game to date. Also, here's the sound it makes when plugging it into charge. Awesome, right? There's just so much about this specific controller's utilization within these specific games that makes it perfect for a Pokemon nerd like myself. But possibly the thing I love most about this controller is its simple controls. Given that the ball only has 2 buttons, it's easy to see why it'd be a hassle to use with most games. In fact, it initially feels like there aren't enough buttons when playing Let's Go Pikachu for the first time. After all, if I only have A and B buttons, how do I open the menu, change game settings, or give Pikachu the love and adoration it deserves for beating the crap out of youngster Joey? Well, it's all actually pretty intuitive. The game's designed to treat each input method slightly differently depending on the context. If B wouldn't typically do anything, The top button acts more like an X button to open the menu. Likewise, on the menu, shaking the ball will trigger the equivalent of a Y button press to update settings. The same thing happens in the overworld too. If you want to give Pikachu some attention, it's as easy as shaking the controller to get to where you want. And then motion controls act the same way they do on a Joy-Con, to just pet your partner a little bit. Game Freak clearly put some thought into how the Pokeball Plus could be used for these games as comfortably and intuitively as possible. And it really shows. For this video, I put in 10 or so hours playing with this controller, since it had been a few years since I picked it up. And I never once felt like my hands were cramping, something which I wouldn't be able to say if I were playing with just a regular Joy-Con instead. While on principle, I kinda hate the idea of a controller only being usable by a single set of games, the ways in which the Pokeball Plus enhance Let's Go Pikachu's gameplay makes it almost a necessity to get the most out of the game, which by itself is already a pretty unique entry for such a long-running series. Of course, that's not to say all is perfect while using the Pokeball Plus. Beyond the ball being tied to only Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, its form factor also forces some concessions for the input. When pressing the joystick, for example, it's not uncommon to tilt the stick slightly. Often my thumb will shift to the right or left, meaning I'm not pushing straight down. It's led to more than a few wrong attacks being used in battle, and emphasizes a need to be calm and patient while using the controller overall. Rotation can also be a hassle. The top button's technically raised from the rest of the ball, but it's difficult to feel the button by touch alone until I try to push it. The ball's had a habit of rotating slightly in my hand, especially when I'm having fun tossing it around, leading to a few seconds of needing to look down to reestablish my finger's position. A similar situation happens for the joystick and motion controls too. Any rotation at all changes which direction I need to push the stick to move forward, or toss the ball to hit a Pokemon straight ahead. If I don't know ahead of time that the ball's rotated a bit to the right or left, it's going to force all of my input to be slightly off, potentially at the worst possible times. I've adjusted to these hassles quite a bit over my time using the ball, but it's still a frustration that could have easily been solved if the Pokemon Company had added a small divot or bump to the top button to help folks orient themselves a bit better. It's a weird omission that feels like they let form overtake function just a bit too much. Then there's also the price. Back when the ball first came out, I spent about $50 on it, primarily because I liked the look and appreciated its Pokemon Go connectivity. These days, at least on eBay here in the US, the price hasn't gone down and will likely only go up over time. For huge Pokemon nerds like me, $50 is probably still not terrible to have a cool way to re-experience older games. But a controller with limited functionality outside a couple of games, only available on a single platform, is pretty much the definition of a luxury purchase. But still, without hesitation, I'd probably buy one again if a new version came out for a new game. The comfort of controls combined with the extra layer it offers to gameplay feels like a perfect example of a controller changing my perspective on a game. By themselves, there's plenty to love about the Let's Go games as a longtime Pokemon fan, but the Pokeball Plus really allows me to nerd out on a whole nother level. My only hope is that someday someone figures out how to patch the controller so that I can use it as an easy one-handed input device for even older games. But those are my thoughts. Now's the time when I ask for yours. Did you get the Pokeball Plus when it came out almost 6 years ago? Got it. I feel old. Or is there a similar type of controller for a different game that really elevated the game's gameplay and doesn't make you feel like an old hack? Let me know down in the comments. As always, if you found this video interesting or informative, go ahead and give it a like to let me know, and then get subscribed for more video game tech videos in the future. Oh, also, one last thing that definitely needs to be mentioned here, even though it's not technically related to the Pokeball Plus as a controller. Alongside some connectivity with Pokemon Go as an auto catcher, there's also a feature in the Let's Go games that lets folks stash a Pokemon in the ball to go for walks. Kinda like the old Pokewalkers used for Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Walks help Pokemon gain experience while collecting items along the way, and it's just icing on the cake for the level of immersion created by such a niche controller. I honestly can't get enough. But anyway, that's gonna be all for this video. Thank you so much for staying all the way until the end, and until next time, catch you later. Everybody wants to be your master. Everybody wants to show their skills. Everybody wants to get there faster, make the way to the top of the hill. These steps we climb,